The Florida grandmother, accused of plotting and carrying out the murder of her ex-son-in-law with her son and three other people, is back in Tallahassee to answer to the charges. Donna Adelson appeared in court in Tallahassee earlier this week. She's accused of ordering the murder of Dan Markel, the father of her grandchildren, more than 9 years ago. Take a look at Donna in court.
We would stipulate to no bond at this time without prejudice and the right to revisit with Judge Everett, which is the judge assigned to the case.
So, Ms. Adelson, at this time, you're being held with no bond on count one. Your bond will remain $25,000 on count two and $25,000 on count three. As a condition of your bond, you'd have no contact with the victim's family. You'd have no contact with any co-defendants and no contact with any witnesses that are listed in the probable cause affidavit.
I'm Angenette Levy, and this is a special edition of Crime Fix. We're taking a closer look at what we know about the murder of Dan Markel and the long wait his parents have endured as they try to get some measure of justice for their only son. Donna Adelson was in court 8 days after an FBI agent arrested her at the Miami International Airport, where she was trying to get on a plane for Vietnam with her husband, Harvey. And the arrest also came days after a jury found her son, Charlie Adelson, guilty of arranging the hit on Markel. The motive, according to prosecutors, Donna Adelson wanted her two grandsons closer to her in Miami, and Markel was fighting efforts by his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, to move the boys from Tallahassee to Miami, 8 hours away. This case has a lot of twists and turns. Back in 2014, Charlie Adelson, a well-to-do dentist living in South Florida, was dating a woman named Catherine Magbanois. 3 juries have now determined that Charlie arranged the hit on his ex-brother-in-law through Magbanois. Magbanois testified that she got the father of her 2 children, Sigfredo Garcia, and one of his friends, Luis Rivera, a Latin Kings gang leader, to carry out the hit. Until last week, Donna Adelson was an unindicted co-conspirator. But not anymore. The FBI was onto the Adelsons years ago and even set up a ruse called the Bump to get Donna and her son talking on wiretaps.
How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen.
You scared?
No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Luto for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north.
The Bump, as we know by now, was a fake blackmail attempt by an FBI agent, and it worked. Donna and Charlie started talking about the Bump in code on the phone. Other members of the Adelson family are also unindicted co-conspirators, including Wendy Adelson, who's Donna's daughter and Charlie's sister. Wendy, of course, is the ex-wife of Dan Markel and the mother of his 2 sons. So could Wendy Adelson be the next one to be arrested? She has insisted that she knew nothing about this murder plot. Here's Tallahassee attorney Tim Jansen.
I think to the child custody issues, I think there's recordings on there that are very exculpatory towards Wendy. They talk about the 2 of us with the Bump. It applies to the 2 of us. And another recording, you have Charlie and Donna saying, Wendy doesn't know how lucky she is. She really doesn't know how lucky she is, which would infer that they did this for her. She had no knowledge, participation, and doesn't have to worry. They also have the issue with the use immunity subpoena and the Castigar hearing. But I don't think they have enough. I think we all believe Wendy had to know or had knowledge, but I'm not sure her going near the crime scene is enough of an overt act to be a part of the conspiracy.
Joining me to discuss the very latest in her son's murder case is Dan Markel's mother, Ruth Markel. And I want to mention that Ruth has written a book about her journey. It's called The Unveiling, A Mother's Reflection on Murder, Grief, and Trial Life. Ruth, thank you so much for joining us here on Crime Fix. We really appreciate it. And we're glad to see you looking well and doing so well since the trial. How are you doing?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I would actually say that it's been a very busy week since the trial of Charlie Adelson on November 6th. And now, of course, there was a recent arrest of Donna Adelson. So we're moving at a pace that's fast, considering we're waiting for 9 years. And here's our real score here. I hate to put it that way, but I've done 3 trials, 4 convictions, and an arrest in this last little while. So it's been a very busy journey. The sad part of all this, of course, is there's 2 adolescent boys, Danny's boys, Benjamin and Lincoln, who are now 14 and 13, and probably really just learning about most of the horrific situation.
And let's touch on that for a second, because you say this is the big score, and in the whole scheme of this, in this awful plot to take your son's life, Donna, I would assume you would agree, is accused of being the mastermind of this entire plot. So she was taken into custody last week. She's now back in Tallahassee, but she is somebody, whether you're saying, okay, she's guilty or not, she was a part of your grandson's lives. So their lives are being kind of thrown up in the air again. It's some instability there. So you are concerned about your grandsons and how they're dealing with this, because they are now teenage boys who have access to the internet and things like that. They've got to know about this.
I think this is really, to me, the core issue. I mean, the other, there's so much glitz and glory in this case and glamour and so forth. But look, the bottom real reality is there's 2 young, they're not as young as they were at the beginning of Danny's murder in 2014, but these are still children, adolescent boys. And of course, their uncle Charlie was just last week, I guess November 6th, convicted. And I think they would know that by now. And now their grandmother is, I don't know what they know, but she's certainly not around, from somebody who was very active and very busy in their life. So this is a tough situation, a very tough situation.
Ruth, what have prosecutors told you, if anything, about when they expect, or, looking down the road, when they are forecasting a trial of Donna Adelson could take place?
We haven't heard anything formal, but just as a reminder, and I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is she's entitled to a speedy trial. So that'll be whether who her defense team will be, if they think that's, a valid modality, to go in the approach of a speedy trial. And if not, I'm not sure really what the state attorney's plans are, but they certainly came through now in this short period of time. Last Monday, we got an alert in the early evening, and then by then everything was put together. They just came back to work, from what I understood, when they took off a few days after Charlie's trial. And here they are Monday morning, back really, really, really at this high rate, Olympic rates of arrests and so on. So first of all, I have to be very grateful to all of them as well. But this was really a very effective, quick turnaround in events.
When you had heard that Donna was taken into custody last Monday night at the Miami International Airport, no less, with a one-way ticket to Vietnam with her husband, what went through your mind when you were told that?
I really couldn't believe it. I was tired after Charlie's trial, and I stayed in Tallahassee a few extra days. So I don't want to say I was still in bed in any way, but I certainly was not yet ready to hear this kind of event. And so I was kind of doubly, not shocked is not the right word, but doubly affected, because I'm really still a little tired. And yet, oh boy, here we go quickly into the next part of this case. And so I would just say it was so unexpected.
Was the arrest unexpected? Because Georgia Kappelman had kind of said it was coming. She said, stay tuned. But were you just surprised by the circumstance of the arrest?
The circumstances and the timings. Even I think, Georgia at that moment, I don't think had the information to say that this was happening, stay tuned Monday morning. that kind of thing. But certainly, look, it's been on the horizon, and and George is certainly excellent. Closing and other events have not made anybody not think that this was impossible, but the timing of it, I think, was, for me, I can't talk about anyone else, for me was earlier and surprising.
You had told me last week that you have a visit planned with your grandsons. Do you know, will that still indeed happen?
I do have the visit planned. I have not heard. This was planned actually before Charlie's conviction and before Donna's arrest. So I often go to South Florida, Canadian, and there's a lot of Canadians who are in Florida. We're all a little bit snowbirds, as they call us. And so I hope it's still there. I mean, I think that I'm not sure whether Wendy will keep the date exactly, but she's certainly, if I'm going to see them, there's a time period of which I'll be there in South Florida. I think it might hold. It's very difficult, but I have a feeling, for many other reasons, that I think the date might hold.
Donna Adelson this week appeared in court in Tallahassee. She was transported from Miami-Dade up to Leon County to answer to these charges. It's the first of many hearings that will be held in this case. If you could talk to Donna Adelson, would you say anything to her?
No, I don't have anything to say to her directly. I think that the court process will say it all.
And finally, I just want you, Ruth, I want to hear what you want people to know about Dan. I know we talked about him before. Is there anything you want to leave us with as far as your son goes, and how you would want people to remember him?
I would like people to remember him as a great father. I mean, and this is really his legacy. Everybody acknowledges his scholarly, outstanding contributions, but on a very personal level, this is a time when we have to remember the kind of father he was. I also want to just say at this point that I'm grateful. It's coming up Thanksgiving. So we're Canadian. We already had our Canadian Thanksgiving, but I did celebrate many years with Danny American Thanksgiving. So in a certain way, it's also sad for us too. We'll be missing sort of his coming home or his whereabouts around Thanksgiving. But I also would like to say that I am very grateful to the state attorney's office, to Georgia Kappelman, to Sarah Dugan, to Jason Newlin, and to Patrick Sanford from the Tallahassee Police Department, and from the FBI, and of course to the Tallahassee Police Department, and even the media has been a good partner to us. So I just want to say it's a time to say thank you as well.
Well, that is very gracious of you, Ruth, with everything that you all have been through. And we know you'll be, I'm sure, attending the sentencing of Charlie Adelson.
Yes, we don't know exactly when it is. I think the date in December 12th is still a hearing. So we're waiting. I think our life of 9-10 years already has been uncertainty and waiting. So I guess we're just waiting for more information.
We wish you a happy American Thanksgiving, Ruth Markel. Again, Ruth's book is entitled The Unveiling, A Mother's Reflection on Murder, Grief, and Trial Life. And she outlines her entire journey and everything she's been through with this case and losing her only son. Ruth Markel, thank you again for coming on Crime Fix. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you so much.